Hello there, Facebook community. So to introduce this talk, hello again. I am Rosemary Domina. I go by Rosie for short. I am the founder of Reaching the Depths Coaching. And every month I bring on a wonderful, amazing, and this guest in particular is very beautiful and dear to my heart, to share their personal story. Welcome to Real Talk, Transforming Your Energy 2021, September edition. The title of this talk is called The Spiritual Awakening from Cancer. And I have an amazing guest here, again, very dear to my heart. Her name is Dianna Blom. And I want to give her the full introduction because she is amazing, lots of life experience. That's why she's smiling and laughing in the background, because she knows she has that wisdom she's going to share with you today. But Dianna is a survivor of cancer 3 times and has grown through these experiences. The most recent diagnosis of head and neck cancer has offered insights and healing in a very different way. Dianna has a loving and supportive family who provide her joy in everyday life. Dianna is, here we go, a lot of the titles. Registered nurse, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. She is a board certified nurse coach. Yes, nurse coaching is a real thing, guys. That's what I am too, if you're getting to know what this role is. She holds a graduate certificate in spirituality, health, and medicine. She holds a certification in cross-culture sound and music and is a certified food and spirit practitioner and a therapeutic touch practitioner. She is currently enrolled in the Global Mystic Certification Program. So professionally, Dianna has been in the nursing leadership for over 50 years in nearly all aspects of acute care, home health, hospice, outpatient services, and care management. She is passionate and created healing environments where interdisciplinary staff could not just survive, but thrive, and assisted them in growing individually and as teams. Dianna had the privilege of co-founding Nursing Leadership for Healing Circles in partnership with Healing Circles Global, a program of Commonweal Retreat Center in Bolinas, California. Healing Circles and training are available at no cost through Healing Circles Global, just FYI. Healing Circles is about storytelling in a safe container without judgment, crosstalk, or fixing. When Dianna retired from organizational leadership, she was not done and served as a faculty for the Integrative Nurse Coaching Certification Program at Harmony Hill Retreat Center in Union, Washington. She is passionate about the International Nurse Coach Association and the commitment in offering nurses a program to heal, renew passion, change lives, and create coaching opportunities for the healing of healthcare. And this is where I actually met her. She was one of the faculty members when I joined the certification program in 2019. And I still remember my first day, and she sat next to me in her big circle, had no idea who she was or what her story is. But today she's going to share a piece of that. So Dianna, how are you doing?
Oh, hi everyone. Hi, Rosie. I'm doing fine. I'm doing just fine. Yeah, it's a good day, and I appreciate your inviting me to share a little bit on your program.
Absolutely. There is so much. I honor you and hold you in such a dear place in my heart. And when I met you, I just lost my dad that year, and it was a very tough time for me. And you and Susan Craig, did a therapeutic touch healing session for me at Harmony Hill at the second part of the program, which I'm forever thankful for. So knowing who you are, I mean, honestly, thank you. And I'm honored to have you on this live platform, and just, I'm really, really excited. I can't say that much. She makes me naturally want to cry, and she will easily express her emotions in that way, but you do the same for me. So Dianna, tell us a little bit more about your story and the spiritual awakening from cancer.
Okay. Well, I'm going to apologize in advance if I clear my throat and have to cough every now and again. It's just sort of part of the journey with this head and neck cancer. Yeah, which has been quite a journey, as a nurse and an oncology nurse, and having family members die of cancer and breast cancer. I thought you kind of get this illusion that maybe you know a lot about cancer, and boy, oh no, I think being a patient certainly teaches you a lot, but excuse me. But and although I've had breast cancer twice before, and have done well, I have the gene, and that's why I was not surprised to get a separate second breast cancer. But always in my breast cancers, my sister died of breast cancer when she was 44. And so, and working as an oncology nurse and hospice founder, I know about that. I thought I knew about it. And I did kind of know the experience of breast cancer. Always then, though, the first two times I was working, and I was truly a workaholic, really. And the only thing I thought about um, in my treatment was like, okay, well, you just have your surgery and you have your radiation and you have your chemo and you get back to work because you just get through it. It's a thing that I did, and I did. I did all those things, got back to work, didn't really change my life very much. Kept as busy as I always was, involved in everything because I love what I do and I love my passions. But it did take its toll. Yeah, I look back on my life and I'm 76 now, and I think, would I have changed any of the really, really hard times? And the answer is no, because each one of those were opportunities for me to grow and change and be who I am today. And it's a process, it really is. So, but with this head and neck cancer, wow, that came out of nowhere. That was probably the last thing I ever thought that I would have. Another breast cancer, yeah, sure, maybe. But head and neck cancer, where did that come from? And as with the other diagnoses, I never felt fear. It was like, okay, this is just some business I need to take care of, get the treatment, go through it, um, and I don't know what the outcome will be. But for years, I'd say the last 5, 6 years at least, I've been saying, I want to go deeper. I need to be quiet. I need to be, I need just some quiet and I want to go deeper. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant. I've studied sacred sound with Pat Moffat Cook in the Open Ear Center for almost 20 years. And that has been an absolutely enlightening experience for me. I'm a Lutheran Western medicine kind of nurse, and I found no conflict with sacred sound, with Hindu Vedic chanting, and Buddhist chanting, Christian chanting. But it really has reached me, touched me in my soul in a very different way to open me up. And I really had felt like I had sort of found who I was authentically and that was speaking from that place. And so when I got this head and neck cancer, it was like, whoa, 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 what is this about? I think I'm speaking my truth and own that. And then I got to thinking about the fifth chakra and thought, oh dear, okay, all right, it's about speaking your truth, but it's also about living and having the will and courage to live your true purpose. That's how I interpret it.
Mm.
So it was more than just understanding, maybe thinking who you are authentically and speaking your truth, but is having the will and courage to really live that your purpose. And so I thought, well, okay, all right, this has something to teach me. And like I said, I have had no fear about it. I was a surgical nurse for a period, and I know about head and neck cancers in the very beginning and the radicalness of some surgery. And, I was offered the radical neck surgery. It was during a time of COVID. I wasn't anxious to be in a hospital in an ICU in the beginning of this pandemic. And they tried to go through my mouth to remove, and they couldn't because I have a small mouth. So no one can tell me that I have a big mouth. Anyway, ended up going back to plan B, which was radiation and chemo. And I was very fortunate in that my daughter and my granddaughter, who was I guess he was about 4 then, kind of moved in for 2 months. And I had their constant support. I went to treatment and came home and sat in my chair and took tube feedings and really didn't have to do anything. And that was very comforting. And, I had some techniques that I don't, using imagery and using sacred sound to help guide the radiation into the depth of my tumor. I used some and the healing circle, certainly. So I used a lot of techniques that helped me, I think, benefit as much as I could from the treatment. So the treatment, lasted a few months, and the treatment, what I didn't understand was the year and a half now that I've been almost since I finished treatment has really been one of the hardest times of my life in some ways. I had to learn how to eat again, learn my voice is finally coming back some, but there are a lot of side effects to the treatment with this kind of cancer. And and so instead of just getting through it so I can get back to work, I started thinking about, well, what does this mean? And what does it mean that I can't eat food? I've lost 35 pounds, and for the first time in my life, I have to worry about keeping weight on, which is like an oxymoron. It's everything has changed. So much has changed in the way the opportunities that I've had from this cancer and looking at my life in a totally different way. And one of the things that it has given me the opportunity to do is actually to know what going deep means and what being quiet means. Now, I wouldn't have asked to have a head and neck cancer to teach me or not allow me to talk or make me really think about how I'm using my voice and what I'm doing to nourish my body. So I say, be careful what you ask for, because this was one big surprise. And at the same time, it's just been an absolutely wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me to really look at things differently. And in wanting to go deeper, I have a friend who has been struggling with metastatic breast cancer, and a sacred sound friend, and we share a lot of life. And she's actually absolutely an amazing woman. She started a program in Chicago. I just have to give this little shout out called Harmony, Hope, and Healing. And she went into homeless shelters on the south side of Chicago and started choirs. And that continues today. Anyway, Marge said to me, I'm going to take a class on the Shift Network on Julian of Norwich during the pandemic. And I thought, oh, wow, what's that? I said, you're Catholic, I'm Lutheran, I don't know about those saints. Anyway, I took it, and it actually was very, very interesting to really look at. That's where I kind of got into learning more about mysticism and mystics and what that means, and who are modern day mystics and what they bring in the name of love to change in our culture, in our time of living in this chaos. And I got really interested in the feminine face of the divine, um, in a way that I never really even understood before. And so I just have this thirst for learning more and more and more about the feminine face of the divine. And that led me to the Shift Network, which that's where I'm taking the program, the Global Mystic Certification, that starts in about a week. It's a year-long, very intensive graduate level course. But I'm really hoping that this will help me go deeper in knowing what my true purpose is. Right now, it's different than it's ever been before. And I know that. I know there's something more for me to do now with my life. And I don't know exactly what that is, but it has to do with having the courage to speak my truth on a deeper level.
So powerful. Woo! I'm gonna read a couple of things there are a couple of comments on the chat so far, but Linda Fury says, hi Dianna, hi Rosie. Jan says, thank you for sharing your voice with us. Wise Dianna. And Una says, the opportunity from this cancer. And she's just amazed how you're able to shift that perspective. I think in this society and in culture, when we do get sick with chronic disease, it tends to take over us instead of finding this opportunity, we're just stuck with, I have the disease, I'm going to die, and I'm going to suffer in that, which I'm not saying is right or wrong. It's just one perspective. But it's very rare that I meet someone like you. And I mean, I can say I told you this, I shared this with you last week. My mom has chronic cancer, and there is something to say about her and her hardcore Catholic ways. Again, that's her beliefs, but after 22 years of now she has stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. She is still alive. She is still functioning, and she is turning 80 this year. She's doing her thing. But there is such a drive, I feel, spiritually. There's that common bond and power that I think not a lot of us can access. I feel like I'm starting to just tap on what that means and how powerful it can be to go deeper. That was my question for you. What does it mean to go deep? What does that actually mean? I don't know if you have any insight on that, because some people, when they think of deep, oh, I got to get emotional and I got to go with my feelings and I don't want to do that. And we live in this culture where feelings are not accepted as a strength, right?
Yeah.
At least I would say in this country. So what does going deep mean from your perspective?
So going deep for me is knowing that there's something more for me to learn or to experience. And it's interesting because as I've done this work, I've become less emotional than what I used to be. And I think part of that, not to say I still don't cry, I don't want anybody to understand that, because I do, because when my heart opens, I cry. I mean, tears, wow, I can't stop it. They just come. So I got to be careful here. But I think for me, I've found ways to, in one way, discharge some emotions. And one of the big things I've learned in Sacred Sound is not to get hooked by emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. And their emotions are good, they're not bad. But I'm beginning to learn how much energy I want to offer to emotions versus to stay on the path and stay centered and move forward. So I've learned to discern a lot about that, and I still have more to learn. And so going deep is, it's like I crave to know more. I really want to know more about. It's more than emotion. It's really understanding. It's kind of hard to explain, but in a way, it's like, what are the other ways to understand what's happening or what's occurring, or how can I go deeper in understanding what's happening, particularly in the chaos and the paradigm shift that we're living in right now. I know that reacting to all the horrible things that are going on right now is not helpful. What I know is trying to stay centered, stay positive. If I cannot stay positive, to stay neutral. Because I absolutely believe there's a tipping point of energy in our universe. And anytime I send a negative vibe on anything, it contributes to the negativity. If I can stay neutral or send a positive vibe, then it kind of balances it out. And we're going through a time of change, which we need to go through right now. This is going to be another hard year in 2021. Some of my Sacred Sound teacher, they have a lot of contacts in India, and there's a belief that in 2022 things are going to ease a bit, but that this year is going to be another really difficult year. So how can we just be and not react through this turbulent time that has to happen? I believe not we, but over the generation, we've created what's happening. And there's a shift, and things need to be more in balance, and there's going to be big changes. I really believe that. And that's part of why I'm so interested in this Mystic program, because what I understand is that like-minded people are going to go deep in understanding philosophy. It's more than philosophy. It's like the traditions of the world. It's more, it's not religion. It's about what do we have in our different cultures and in our different ways of thinking that can make us more whole. And my belief is that the change that's going to happen is going to be completely based on love. The move is going to be that, and so for that change to happen, what Andrew Harvey says, and these aren't my words and I'm not quite comfortable with them yet, but what he says is that through this change we have an opportunity to rebirth humanity in love. And that is what is going to make a difference for now in getting through this time of chaos and moving forward into a new paradigm. So this course I'm taking it's really looking, for me, I'm hoping is that it'll fill in any gaps I have and give me a scaffolding to understand what my purpose is now, and then to help me have the will and courage to move forward in whatever way I can. I don't plan on starting new classes. I just want to know how I can move forward in love to support, not my words, and I have to get used to these, the rebirthing of humanity. So I'm really excited about learning more and moving forward in that way. I don't know, Rosie, does that answer your question?
It does. I mean, you blew me away with such an amazing answer on so many levels. And I just want to add on to what you're saying about what we're going through now with the pandemic. And one, if we're looking at opportunities for change, I mean, I believe the pandemic has brought that. It has given each individual to choose whether to lean in and to listen, or you can go the other way. You get to listen to actually whatever truth you need to, but it's an opportunity because things were removed that were out of our control. So now what you're truly left with is yourself. Being a nurse now for almost 15 years and seeing the dynamic of Western medicine change even throughout since I've been a nurse, and I'll just use this term and I think it will say a lot, it's just instant gratification, quick fix. We have turned to that as a remedy rather than to leaning into our own stuff. And now it's looked at as something very scary or not the strong thing to do, if that makes sense. So what you're saying, I mean, I feel resonates, I mean, with me and where I am in my life and in my journey. And like you, I'm also choosing to find what that purpose is for me now in 2021, going through what I'm going through and going into 2022 with that love and letting love prevail and answer for me. But that's why, I mean, honestly, I wanted to bring you on. You have such a different perspective. And to say this in a funny but true way, you have credentials for life. You're going through a lot. You have experienced life by default because of age, but also you add the element of chronic disease, because I think the majority of Americans suffer from multiple chronic diseases. So for anyone who is listening, and if you're tuning in live right now, or if you're watching the replay, I mean, comment below. Share an emoji if you agree with Dianna on what she's sharing. I do have some other comments here, so I'm going to read them off. If you need to grab some water, please do. Jan had also written, having the courage to speak my truth. Yes, as she quoted you directly. Denise says, we have similar nursing backgrounds and she loves everything that you're saying. So I'm going to give a shout out to Denise, because Denise is actually my partner's mom and she's a nurse in Buffalo. So yay, thank you, Denise. Una said, isn't she amazing? And yep, 100% agree. So you are definitely touching lives and hearts right now with just your natural wisdom and truth. And I think it's amazing that you still want to dig deeper in life. The other term that came to mind, you talked about being in this positive or neutral zone. And the word I thought of is equanimity, facing conflict with neutrality, which is a skill. And it does require you to go deep or step back. And that's, again, another skill that you learn through time if you choose to go that way in terms of how you approach certain things that happen in your life. More so, I feel like it's easy to lean into happier moments or joyful moments, but more in the difficult moments, it's harder to do that. So yeah, I mean, wow, I can't even say anything. I'm just like, oh, you're carrying this. I mean, it's great. It's great what you're sharing.
Well, I think that I've always kind of been that, through my nursing career. And, I became a leader when I was a nurse for 5 years. It was the first time I was a head nurse, and for whatever reason, it's continued from then. But, I really, really believe that my job was to really make it possible that staff could do their best work, and that not only to just do their best work, but to thrive and to find what their passions are that they're best at. And many times, sometimes, some of the administrators in hospitals they knew that my outcomes are always really good, that I didn't have problems with staff turnover. I never had a grievance. We always, all the, Joint Commission scores of 95 to 100 or 98%. I mean, but they always, I know, didn't totally value my gifts. I was sort of that nice person. I was too nice to kind of fit in. And, there were challenges. I had to really work hard to be accepted and allow people to, acknowledge some of the work that I had accomplished, and some of those times that were hard. So there's been many, many different challenges in life, happy marriage, divorce. All my family of origin died before I was 50 years old. I was downsized from a couple jobs, then the medical things on top of it. And every one of them was a learning. Were they easy? No. Life's not meant to be easy. I really believe that. Is it meant to have joy and more joy? Yes, of course, of course. And I think we ultimately get to have the choice. How bad do you want to live? And actually, a nurse coach, a friend of mine, asked me that question last January. Dianna, how bad do you want to live? You get to choose, are you going to eat or are you not? And at that point, that was a particularly tough time for me. Anyway, so I think that, having friends who will ask you the hard questions too. How bad do you want? Do you want to live? Yes, I choose life. Okay, so what does that mean? And so again, going deeper, it's really about, I'm not sure what I'm meant to do here, but I know I'm meant to be here right now. And when it's not time, then I'll know it's time to go. But for now, it feels really good. And the one thing I really know, Rosie, that I want people to really at least think about is that love heals. It really is all about love. Love heals. There's no doubt about that.
Oh my. Another shout out for you from Linda. She says here, love your focus on how to go forward in our lives and world. So need this energy healing more than ever. And she sends hugs to you. Oh my, I say this, I mean, I'm speechless on what to even ask or add, because I feel like you have explained everything very clearly. I know I will say maybe for some, it probably will take them a moment to register, the depth of what you're saying. But there is so much truth and wisdom. I mean, clarity for me. It's crystal clear where all this comes from for you. Whew. And I just need to take that moment to acknowledge that, because I'm just like, wow.
Well, and Rosie, this is my journey. We each have our journeys and we each have our stories. And, that's the exciting part. My journey doesn't have to be other people's journey. You know, we have so many. And I think what's important, one of the important things for me is that everybody know that they have the power to make a difference.
Mm,
Every single one of us have the ability to make a difference
mhm,
by having a positive thought, by smiling at someone, by trying not to react, even though it's hard sometimes. Um, but but each one of us, sometimes I think we feel powerless. Oh, things are so awful and horrible, and they are. It really are. That I can't do anything, and it's real easy to get discouraged. And
mm.
yet, we all have the ability to make a difference every day just by smiling or staying positive or neutral, whatever you can do. I don't know.
No, that's very true. Everyone has their own unique life and unique path. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, I love my dancing. Can't
Mm.
share enough of it. If you remember,
Oh,
I surprised you with that one. I mean, if our nurse coach from cohort 26, if you were there tuning in live, you know what I'm talking about. Um, but I hear you. It's sharing that joy and passion that's truly yours, and all you can hope to do if you're living that authentically is inspire others. You're right. Everyone has their own story, so
yeah.
it's clear. I mean, Denise says right now, just I have these comments coming in real time. Thank you. I am in tears from your insight. So here you go. You inspired someone today that just met you.
Mm.
So here, just adding on to what you're saying, how important it is to live in your truth, to share light, even in the smallest ways. It has a huge impact and a huge ripple effect. So,
We make
whew,
it.
say it again.
Yeah, I said we make a difference. Never
Very
forget
true.
that we do make a difference. And the other thing is, love and have gratitude for our communities. It's oh, I tell you, my communities, my family, all the communities in my life. I have so many wonderful communities. And so, if I've gained any wisdom or have any thoughts that make sense to people, this journey I have not been on alone. There are people that have stepped with me and are still walking with me every single day. And it's through that support that I've been able to kind of heal, certainly from getting through all the treatments. And I mean, I honestly felt like I was being carried on eagle's wings during this last treatment of the radiation and the chemotherapy. It was like effortless in some ways because I felt like I was being carried. So the importance of having communities and being with the people that you love and being open to meeting new people that have different ideas and finding those people that are also asking questions about what's next, and wanting to, yeah, just kind of be, just be and be open. Um,
Mm.
Absolutely amazing opportunities.
So the question of the night with we discussed this earlier, so no surprise. Um, Unfortunately, cancer is very prevalent. I mean, all forms of it, and I feel like it's getting worse as time moves on.
Mm.
So there are probably many people who hear our live that either have cancer or who are supporting someone with that condition. What are You can name how many tips? Three at the most, three or less, or anything that rings true to you for someone who is going through this, who is searching for hope.
Yeah. And hope is really important. I'm glad you used that word because, you know, my story right now, I am, I get a scope every 2 months to see if there's any cancer that's returned. So far, there hasn't been. But, we live, I think when you get that cancer diagnosis, there's kind of a bit of shock and some confusion about, well, what's next. And I think one of the things that's really important is to trust your physicians. find, for me, I'm a nurse, I'm an oncology nurse, but I do not go delving looking on YouTube or on any of the medical journals. I find a physician that I feel comfortable with and I trust him. I get to ask questions and contribute what my ideas are, but I trust them. So for me is find a medical team. I've talked about some things that have been really helpful for me. They're not medical, but it's been real important for me to do the medical things too. Do the chemo, do the surgery, do the radiation, whatever. But I think I would make sure you're comfortable with your medical team. And I think the other, right now I'm stable and I don't know how long I'm going to stay stable, but the day will come when things might change. And I certainly have a lot of friends that are in that situation. And I guess what I would say is, if you can, find someone that can talk about death and dying with you. I'm not afraid to die. I've had so much death in my family and I feel at peace with it. But that is certainly not the way most people feel. So I would just, find someone that can help you, because what I learned in hospice is once people get their questions answered, then they can live. So not to have that fear, I think. And then another thing is just surround yourself with community. There are people who love you, and sometimes we try to hide what's going on with us because we want to protect others. If you can, be open and allow them to know what's going on as much as you're comfortable with, but to receive their help. I remember when my sister died, we had a lot of common friends, and I was like in this mode of I got to take care of everything, take care of her kids, I arrange everything. And a friend said to me, Diana, we all loved her too. Why won't you let us help? And I thought, whoa, that's really true. I was so efficient and thinking ahead, but I didn't allow the people around me to really help resolve their grief in a way that was tangible. And I've always remembered that. So for me, and I know we're all different, but for me, I let everybody know when I had the cancer because I really appreciated the support I got. So I would just say, as you can, surround yourself in loving community.
I love that. Love it. I have Una right now who is typing out your tips as we speak so other
Oh,
folks can see. And then the other question is for the supporter or caregiver. I think they experience when they see someone go through it, it's difficult and it's hard. I mean, hands down, burnout, sometimes stress, or just even emotional fatigue. I mean, there could be many things and feelings.
yeah.
But how would you guide the supporter in feeling empowered to be there for the person who needs the support?
Yeah. Well, again, I think take care of yourself.
Mm.
We really can't help other people unless we take care of ourselves. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do when you really want to help and take care of somebody else. And but find some way that you can take some time out or get a whatever it is, take a manicure, a pedicure, a walk around the block, whatever it is, so that you can take care of, know that yourself, you're nurturing yourself as well, and ask for help. I've been there. As I said, I can do it all, and I can do it all, but that's not fair to others. And I was totally burnt out. I was so tired and exhausted. So ask for help. Help is available if you ask for it, and people often say, "How can I help?" And unless you tell them, they don't know.
Mm.
So you say, "Yes, I had friends say, I can clean toilets, Diana, wash dishes." I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want them to do that. But you know what? It really helped. Anyway, it's kind of, you can just sort of set aside some of that pride and know that people really want to help. That's another thing. And then, certainly have a community that you can talk to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. I love. Great. These are amazing,
Mhm.
Dianna. I know you participate in a lot of things, but are there any opportunities that you want to share to the community about things that are available that you know of offhand, in those support groups you're talking about, for just to share with everyone?
Yeah, well, I think that, I had a friend, a colleague, a friend, give me therapeutic touch every single solitary week. And that was done on Zoom. She lived on the East Coast. And, if you go to the International Therapeutic Touch Association, you can find someone in your area if you would like to have some energy work. It was created by a nurse, therapeutic touch, and a clairvoyant healer, but it's used as a nursing process actually. So it's energy work, but it really can help both the caregiver and the patient.
Mhm.
Um, so, and then I think the other thing, another thing is I talked about healing circles. We have healing circles for grief. We have healing circles for cancer patients. And it's a place where you can come and share your story in complete confidentiality, no fixing, no judgment, no cross talking. And if you would go to Healing Circles Global, and you can just look that up, or Commonweal, those support groups are available and they are free. And I would encourage that. Also, if you're a cancer patient and a caregiver, I have to give a shout out to Harmony Hill, who is it's a handsome, Harmony Hill Retreat Center. It's in Union, Washington. It was founded by Gretchen Shoddy 35 years ago, who's a nurse practitioner and was called to do this work. And Harmony Hill provides workshops, 3-day workshops for cancer patients and their caregivers, free of charge.
Mm.
And people come from all over the world to Harmony Health for these workshops, and they are life changing for people. So I would, encourage you if you're interested in that, but they're very helpful. And they're doing it during COVID. They've done one now in person again, and if COVID prevents that, then they will go back and they'll do it on Zoom. But there is help available.
I'm glad you mentioned Harmony Hill, and being there myself in person, that area is magical in many ways, and you feel the love and support that you need just by walking around in that area. It's gorgeous. So I thank you for shouting that out. And yeah, Gretchen's amazing. I can't say enough about her either, but thank you for sharing all of those resources. I know for anyone again who is live, or you're watching the replay, feel free to reach out to Dianna if you have specific questions. She is on Facebook. I would say just direct message her. If you don't know her, just please introduce yourself and just let her know what your question is. I know she'll be more than happy to help. But Dianna, you explained your story so beautifully, so clearly, and by the amount of comments I was getting throughout the whole talk, people see you and they hear you, and you inspire. You're inspiring me. You inspire me truly, and I'm not just saying that. You have such a beautiful heart. So I'm thankful again and honored that you are a guest on my talk for September, and it just came at the perfect time. So for anyone, again, please reach out to her if you have any questions specifically for me. You know how to get a hold of me on social media, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn. I'm on all those. But until next time, Dianna, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think just to thank you, Rosie. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for creating this opportunity for your listeners. And just, I love you and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think in different areas of my life right now, people are telling me that I need to continue dancing. So whether that means literally dancing, which yes, or just in my life, I think I've been dancing a lot just with everything. And that's how I grow. I dance through life.
So let me say one thing, Rosie.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh boy, Rosie, I don't like to move my body. That is an area I've not worked on yet. Anyway, Rosie tried to teach me how to do hip hop. Yeah, with our cohort 26 of the Integrative Nurse Coach program. Oh my gosh, it was a hoot. And I guess that's the other thing. Remember to have fun and laugh and feel the joy. It even in the worst situation, there's joy. We just have to look for it. But it was hilarious. We really had fun.
I
So
think
thank
it was. Oh, you're welcome. I'm just glad that it was received by the Inca community at Harmony Hill by my fellow cohort 26. Woohoo! But that was an epic time, and I remember Ron just saying like this has never been done before. So and then getting that shout out from Barb on Zoom before a lecture where she was just thanking me. I was like, oh great, this is awesome. So it's just showing you when you're in a room filled with people who support you and see you for who you are, and that just adding on to what you're saying about having a support system. True magic, true joy, and true love can come out of that. Hands out like a waterfall. It blossoms naturally. So Dianna, thank you so much for being a guest on Real Talk, Transforming Your Energy. For those who are on live and stayed till the end, thank you so much for tuning in and hearing her story. Thank you for supporting the R&D community. And until next month, I will have another guest again. But until then, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.